Everyone, welcome back to Pet Brand Podcast. I'm your host Varnit, and as always, we are here to bring you the stories behind the most innovative pet brands and the incredible people leading the charge in the space. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce someone who's been making waves in the world of dog care and training for the past decade. In 2014, Alicia Collins established Canine Activity Club with a clear vision to cultivate a community of passionate dog lovers while offering unmatched care for our beloved four-legged family members. Alicia and her team are committed to excellence, ensuring rigorous staff training to provide a safe, inclusive, and non-discriminatory environment. Their goal is to give pet owners peace of mind and the confidence to entrust their pet to a team that truly cares. So let's dive into her journey, her passion for dogs, and how she's shaping the future of pet cares. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Great, great, great. So, starting with your business and initial challenges. So, I would love to know what was the inspiration behind starting Canine Activity Club? Was this always your plan, or did it evolve over time?
Right. No, I it was not always my plan. I did not
Uh-huh.
have a big dream of owning a dog boarding and training facility and running a business with 50 employees. And although if you said I got to bring my dogs to work every day and I got to work with other people who love what they're doing, that would have been my dream, right? The
Mm-hmm.
dog care industry fits so nicely in with what I already love. So it was kind of a natural fit when I got to this point. But my mom was a dog trainer, so we grew up in a
Okay.
very dog-centric
Mm-hmm.
home. I've always had dogs and pets and lots of little furry animals or ones with
Mm-hmm.
scales and from birds to fish to all the things. And
Wow.
so in my, let's see, how long ago was that? In my, mid 30s, when I still had
Mm-hmm.
little bitty kids, I started showing AKC conformation shows with the Staffordshire Bull Terriers.
Uh-huh.
And that takes, really getting interested in body movement and acupuncture and chiropractic work. And I was driving all
Mm-hmm.
over the county to different individual service providers
Mm-hmm.
to do training or to do exercise. And there was a little dog gym that I went to with a treadmill. And I just thought it would be so cool if it was all under one roof, if there was a way to
Mm-hmm.
bring all those services together. And
Mm-hmm.
about that time, this facility was for sale. And it was a very large facility with mostly boarding, but it was
Mm-hmm.
fairly run down, hadn't been updated in a long time. It was built in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with the idea of a huge project. So, and the project it was a very big project to get it
Mm-hmm.
funded,
Mm-hmm.
to get the loans. I think I went through five different banks who told me no first, and I don't take no very easily, thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And it was bootstrapped. I mortgaged my house
Wow.
and really committed to this being an amazing place for dogs and their people. And if you build it, they will come. And that was true. We strive. That's true. We strive for excellence. We've been voted
Mm-hmm.
number one in the area. I think 8 of the last 10 years. The
Wow.
first 2 years just getting
Mm-hmm.
started, and so consistently we stay at the top. And I just got
Mm-hmm.
notice that I'm the only facility operator to pass the PACCC exam. So that
Mm-hmm.
might be an interesting thing to look up, but it's a fairly new registration for pet facilities independently tested. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of an exciting new thing that we've done
Mm-hmm.
this year.
Mm-hmm. And do you have still competitors in the market currently?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of competitors. Our area is very dog savvy, and we have we're very lucky. We actually have a lot of wonderful facilities in our area.
Amazing, amazing. And I imagine, starting a business, like you said, you're taking loans and all. So it must come with a unique set of challenges, right? So what was some sort of early obstacles when you started doing this stuff that you faced?
I think just growth, scaling was challenging. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the goal is always to scale. Everybody wants to get bigger. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember when because I'm starting a couple new businesses, so I've been reflecting a lot on the early days, 10 years ago when we first started. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when we opened daycare and there were 5 dogs at daycare. And then what it takes to manage such a small number, but
Mm-hmm.
different sizes safely. And then there were 12 dogs at daycare, and then there were 24 dogs at daycare. And every time we had a big jump, we had to completely redo our routine and our cleaning protocols and keep building on those SOPs and
Mm-hmm.
really, if I think it was better than walking into a facility that already had, 200 dogs a day, which is about what we have on any given day between boarding, daycare, and
Mm-hmm.
training. Is we average about 200 dogs a day.
Mm-hmm.
So it gave us time to really learn how to do that safely, but staying consistent, staying safe, and not sacrificing any of our standards through growth is probably the most challenging, I think.
Mm-hmm. And do you have like any sort of mentors in this industry, or did you learn it on your own, everything?
I mean, I've owned other businesses before, so
Okay.
I have a background in accounting.
Uh-huh.
So I have a deep understanding of, of the financials and doing payroll and, how to budget and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And a lot of dog experience, and then what else, everything else we needed to learn, marketing and advertising and
Mm-hmm.
training. We hired people who were better at it than we are,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
is I think is the best way to do it. Hire people who are,
Yeah, yeah,
I ended up hiring a
definitely.
manager who's better at me than managing,
Uh-huh.
and really, using other people's skill set to my advantage.
Definitely. It is the only way because how many things can you focus on, right? At the end of the day, you are a founder. You just need to focus
Right.
on one thing, and that's scale and growth, and then outsource the stuff to others. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to focus on the vision and keeping us,
Uh,
sailing a ship in the right direction, right?
uh-huh.
And keeping up with all the current times and what people want for their pets, which continues to change, even in 10 years, drastically actually in 10 years, it's changed in the last 3 years of
Uh-huh.
what people are focusing on. Each generation wants something a little different for their
Yeah.
pet. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to stay current.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So looking back, is there anything that you would have done differently when you started Canine Activity Club?
Oh goodness, what would we have done? What would I have done differently? I mean, I'm sure there are some things that we could have. I mean, I think I would have implemented some of those things earlier. I think we hired about 5 years ago, we hired a reservationist, and that's all they
Mm-hmm.
focus on is making sure the clients are taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it as easy as possible to do business with us. But I think I wouldn't have waited so long on some of those key positions. I think I would have brought in management earlier, um,
Mm-hmm.
invested in some of the higher tech, more expensive programs that we have now. I would have done that sooner.
Mm-hmm.
It would have saved some growing pains for sure.
Mm-hmm. And how many clients do you have like currently?
Oh, clients. I mean, our database, when we send out a newsletter, goes to about 19,000.
Wow.
So we've developed a lot of clients over the years. I don't have the numbers in front of me of who's,
Mm-hmm.
active this year particularly, but
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis, we have about 200 dogs on site. So it's a it's a significant number of dogs to manage, and certainly Monday's different than Tuesday, and
Uh-huh.
Saturday's different than Wednesday, and
Uh-huh.
that fluctuates. But between boarding, daycare, and training, all three legs are pretty equally dispersed as far as number of dogs per day.
Mm-hmm. And what's the feedback you hear most from your clients? Like, are there any particular compliments or suggestion, that stuck with you over the years?
Oh, you know what? One of my favorite things that we hear back from, we do get a lot of feedback, and we are usually looking for it because
Mm-hmm.
I always want to, sorry, fly. I always want to keep the clients happy, right? So I want to know what we're doing great and what might need work on. But I think my favorite thing that they continually praise us on is
Mm-hmm.
the team and how friendly the team is with their
Mm-hmm.
dog and how they truly care about their pet and they learn their names and they're excited to see them and bummed when they go home and
Mm-hmm.
and that this really feels like a second home to their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
That and then it rolls into how excited their pets are to come. I think you can do a lot of things to keep humans happy, but you dogs will never fake it. So you
Yeah.
know if you're doing a good job, right? If the
Yeah,
dogs
yeah,
are
yeah.
excited to pull in the
Mm-hmm.
driveway and how excited they are to come,
Mm-hmm.
hang out with the team here. So I think those are the two top things for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you do you cater like sorry, so yeah.
Yeah.
Do you cater to a lot of like age group of the client, like puppies and like old age
Yeah.
dogs? Or is it like
Well, yeah. Yeah, I think we tend to be very puppy centric here. So we start with
mm-hmm.
puppies. We do a free puppy social every week.
Mm-hmm.
And at no cost, people can come in and we work with them on teaching what is proper play style and help socialize them in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
We have two staff members that are always at the puppy social, and we'll divide the puppies up into two different kind of size groups to make it
Mm-hmm.
fun for all the puppies. And then certainly we have older dogs, and by the time they are much older, sometimes we have them if they're coming to stay with us, they'll board in the cottage where the office is, and they'll hang out with the staff members during the day. You know, older dogs don't necessarily want to go out to play at daycare every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice for them to, have a more home-like experience.
Hmm. Or is there any stories that you have of particular difficult dogs that came to your facility?
Oh, sure. Lots of difficult dogs. Um, well, I mean, we actually are one of the only facilities that is non-discriminatory. So every breed is welcome here.
Hmm.
We have police dogs that stay here. I have dogs that are bite risks, and so we need to be very careful if we handle them, how it's done.
Hmm.
And so there's always, those kind of challenging things. We work with a lot of rescues, and we do a lot of donating of services. So I have several Malinois that come in straight
Hmm.
from German Shepherd Rescue. And, different dogs are challenging for different reasons. But I mean, I think sometimes it's the owners that are more challenging than the dogs, to be honest with you.
Hmm. And
We can
just like
sort through almost anything with the dogs. It's is sometimes there's just a disagree, owner
yep,
challenges versus the dog
yep, yep.
challenges. But
Hmm.
most of the dogs we can make friends with pretty easy.
So how do you like handle dogs who are like shy or scared in a group setting? Like, what is the best way to integrate them into social environment at Canine Active Club?
Well, all of our yards and all of our areas have we call it an acclimation zone. So
Mm-hmm.
no dogs are forced into a play group. They all have acclimation time before they're invited into the group. And
Mm-hmm.
it really depends on their body language of when they're ready to come and they want to come play. And sometimes it takes, 5 minutes and sometimes it takes 5 hours, right? It just
Mm-hmm.
depends on the dog. And sometimes it might take 5 days. I've had fully feral dogs come in that were through rescue. And it's amazing to watch how quickly they will adopt the behavior of the more social dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll become more trusting of the people because they have another dog to watch, you
Yeah, yeah.
know, do it.
Mm-hmm.
But the
So they learn
acclimation
from that.
zones are a key. That's the key
Mm-hmm. And I'm
for our
just
success.
curious, you were talking about the dog parent, right? So like, are there any
Mhm.
misconception people have about training dogs with behavioral issues? Like, what do you wish more
Yeah.
dog owners understood about this whole process?
Oh, wow. That's a big question. I do think there's a lot of misconceptions, and I think the what's the best way to say it? That owners, want their dogs to think like humans
Mm.
versus understanding that dogs think differently. They
Yeah,
learn differently than
yeah.
humans. They actually have a different way of
Hmm.
learning.
Some
And
take
even
more
though
time, some takes less time.
Yeah, and they have to actually do something, right? They're not they can't cognitively, you can't explain to them. The reason
Mm,
I want you to sit at a stoplight is because of this. They learn through, repetition um and action versus talking about it, right? And I
mhm,
think my biggest thing that I talk with clients the most about during
mhm,
training assessments is learning what is obedience, what is management, and how we manage our dogs actually affects the obedience level that we're looking for. Because I don't really care if you sleep with your dog or if you're super casual, be casual. Some people are very strict, some people are very casual, but it
mhm,
does affect the end result of whether a dog is responsive to you when you give it a request or a command.
mhm,
So that's the biggest thing is probably teaching people about, what kinds of things I would consider casual and living in a really casual way, and then how that either is
mhm,
working or working against you in getting what you want out of behavior. So, and
mhm,
if your dog's great and it doesn't matter that your dog sleeps in bed, and if they come when you call them and there's no behavior issues, awesome. But I
mhm,
sit with people all the time who have problems, right? And then we're digging into why they have problems and they don't understand, they give their dog a great life, they love it unconditionally, they feed it 3 times a day,
mhm,
even without asking for food. The dog's allowed on the couch and, can go in and out of the doggy door whenever they want, and they have free run of the whole house, and they don't understand why that might mean the dog has no desire to do what they're
mhm.
told.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it goes together, really. It's a very
Mhm.
when we explain it a little bit differently, you can actually watch the light bulb go on in
It's like an aha
most pet
moment.
owners. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I understand why they're not listening. Why would they listen to you? They get
Yeah.
they get
Uh,
everything they want regardless. They make independent decisions all the time. And then
uh-huh.
occasionally you're out for a walk and
Then
they
you
see
are
another dog and
trying
they
to.
bark at it and you're
Mhm,
shocked that
mhm,
they're making another independent decision, right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
we do a lot of human teaching here, a lot of human teaching.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated with your programs that you offer, and one of them is Puppy Star program, right? So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what inspired you to create them, and what kind of results have you seen from early socialization for puppies?
I mean, Puppy Star is great because it's an AKC program, so we have to be
Hmm.
registered and certified through
Okay.
AKC to do it. So it gives you some
Hmm.
level of training that you're offering,
Hmm.
and it has an actual test at the end. So we actually test out, and it's the pre-test. Puppy Star is kind of like a pre-test for dogs who are interested in being AKC Good Citizen tested.
Okay.
And same thing, the Good Citizen test has pass or fail. It gives you a list of things that prove that your dog is literally a good citizen, right? And then
Hmm.
from there, there's other things that AKC offers. And I love the consistency of it. And I think it gets people a little more serious early on than some of the other once a week
It's
puppy
come later.
classes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. So it gets you in the role. It's more about learning to learn. We do a lot of coaching on crate training and things that are also just above and beyond Puppy Star, but it
Hmm.
gets people in the mode of really getting their puppies involved in training.
Hmm. Are there any new services that you are thinking of adding to this?
Oh, well, I'm opening a couple new businesses, but
Uh-huh.
just to kind of like tie in really nicely. But down the road, I hope to have a wellness center where we
Hmm.
have a underwater treadmill, and we have a vet
Wow.
that
Hmm.
prescribes things like that. We
Hmm.
do exercise and a little bit more in the spa and wellness because I think there's
Hmm.
a demand for that.
Hmm.
So that kind of thing would probably
Hmm.
be next.
Hmm. And do you also offer any special accommodations for dog with medical needs or dietary restrictions? Like, how do you handle those kind of cases?
We are set up with a very in-depth monitoring program. So
Oh.
our system here is almost like being at a medical facility where we
Mm-hmm.
record and sign off on all meds. We we actually measure how much food they ate or didn't eat. And so we put the percentage of food every day. We
Hmm.
monitor their comfort level. And so I can look at their cards, their run cards, and actually tell
Okay.
you everything that's happening. So we don't do, highly, we want the dog to be comfortable. So if the dog is in pain or being treated for something medically, it
Hmm.
might be more comfortable at a veterinarian.
Yeah, yeah.
But for dogs that have, regular care, that they're comfortable at home and they can be comfortable with us and they just need more monitoring, then we're happy to do that. But we
Hmm.
have a lot of options on where they can stay. We've got the traditional standard lodging, which should be a perfectly fine spot for most dogs, and they can be off playing during the day at daycare or not if they're, either non-social or if they're social particular, where they only like some dogs. We have to
Hmm.
monitor the play level. And then we have suites, which are a little bit more quiet and multiple
Uh-huh.
dogs can kind of hang out. It's like a little room for them, which is really cute.
Uh-huh.
Or I even have options where they can sleep in the cottage. So I have an overnight person here
Wow.
every night that sleeps in the cottage. And
Hmm.
so we'll have some dogs that are booked to stay in the cottage with them.
Hmm.
A weird noise. Yeah. So the cottage is really nice. It's very home-like. So lots of different options. Sometimes, that's just puppies. Sometimes it's older dogs that need a little more, hands-on care. And certainly have all kinds of options depending on the dog age and breed and all the things.
Yep, yep, yep. And how do you help owner, just like you're talking about dog owners, stay patient during the training process, especially when their dog isn't progressing as quickly as they would like?
Well, I mean, here progression is marked, right? So we
Hmm.
have a very kind of intensive program for the owners that they commit to ahead of time, where they are coming in 3 times a week. So our owners
Hmm.
are here a lot. And that's
Wow.
usually after some in-house training. So the dog is already a couple steps ahead of them. But we
Hmm.
talk about it. I mean, everything is, we're very open. We're very understanding. The training will come with frustrations.
Hmm.
But we want to circle back to the goal and look at the actual progression and not just, what is weeks out, but what is happening today. And look for the little rewards that we can, you know, give people for some progress. There's always some progress.
Yep.
Sometimes it's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and that is the progress, right? Is that we
Hmm.
only took 1 step back. So we look for things like that.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. So looking ahead, like what do you think, what do you envision for the future of Canine Activity Club? Like, are there any exciting development you're thinking about for the future?
We're adding a lot of enrichment programs right now. I
Hmm.
think clients are excited about it. They want their dogs to
What's
get
it
to
about?
participate. Enrichment,
Uh-huh.
enrichment is taking what they're already doing,
Hmm.
increasing the activities, or maybe it's a nose work day, or it's fun bubble day, or we had a foam party, or we're doing just new things to break
Uh-huh.
up the week and engage more of their senses
Hmm.
and create a little different experience for them. So we've always done and called our daycare program an enrichment program, which was a little ahead of the times, I think,
Hmm.
starting 10 years ago. And now everybody's talking about enrichment and what does that mean? And so it's about having the dogs go over agility equipment and really using their bodies in different ways,
Hmm.
seeing things they don't normally see, smelling things they don't normally smell, and
Hmm.
creating a really engaging experience for them while they're here at daycare or boarding.
Hmm. So yeah, basically you are like a thought leader in this community or industry, right?
I hope so. I like to
Hmm.
stay creative, so I I'm always looking at what is going to be more fun for the dogs and more rewarding for the humans, because
Hmm.
people bring, this is an option. People don't have to bring their dogs to daycare, and I understand that. I want to fulfill, their needs as much as I want to, give the dogs an exciting day. So we're not
Hmm.
just babysitting for the day, we're making it an experience for sure.
Amazing. So, as since you are deeply connected in the pet community, right? What do you
Yeah,
think is the most important issue pet owners are facing today?
most important issue that pet owners are facing. I mean, I think it's a couple of different things. I think currently access to care is challenging, a little outside of our industry, but it still affects us, which is,
Hmm.
how long it takes to get to a vet appointment.
Okay.
I'm really excited about some of the virtual services that are coming out because I've
Hmm.
used them myself and it's been wonderful.
Hmm.
As great as my personal vet is, like they just only have so much time. So that's a huge thing that's going on currently in our industry, especially if it
Hmm.
means you catch a cold and you can't come to daycare for a couple weeks, right? Like the sooner
Hmm.
you can get into your doctor, the better, and that's for people and for dogs.
Hmm.
I think the industry is saying that they want the clients are saying that they want more experiences for their dogs and more customization and convenience. So we're trying to be as convenient as we can and come up with, new exciting things for the dogs to do and being able to really pivot as needed when outside forces are beyond our control. So we can't really help if as an industry if there's a recession coming up
Yep.
and there's a little dip right in if people aren't traveling as much or if
Mhm.
there is inflation
Regarding
happening.
recession, sorry for cutting you off. Regarding
Yeah,
recession,
yeah, please.
I see a lot of news where we say that, pet industry like is recession free. So like, what is your opinion on that?
I don't think anything's recession proof,
Yeah.
completely
Mm-hmm.
proof. I think our industry continues to show that even during recessions and
Yeah.
dips and challenges that we can continue to grow, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
not at as high of a speed. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, if people aren't going on vacation, they're not boarding their dog. And
Mm-hmm.
we are a industry that, yes, people will take care of their pets and feed them regardless, but they might come to
Yeah.
daycare less,
Yeah.
like they
Yeah.
just, if there's
Mm-hmm.
only so much money and we might be, I don't know if I'd call it recession proof, we might be recession resistant. Like we
Mm-hmm.
are pretty resistant to recession, but we're not recession proof.
Yeah.
And we're certainly not inflation proof. And
Mm-hmm.
that is something that's currently happening within our industry is people are coming a little less because their money doesn't go as far as it did
Yep.
before. So they're not going to not completely not come probably,
Mm-hmm.
but they might decide not to do a very expensive training program, even if it's great. And even if it's worth every penny, they just
Mm-hmm.
might not have the money to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we have to, really stay
Mm-hmm.
creative with and give our high end customers and the people who don't
Mm-hmm.
feel the pinch that what they've always been asking for, but maybe
Mm-hmm.
offer services for people who still want to participate but have to do it in a little more limited way.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So if you could give, since you have so much years of experience, if you could give one piece of wisdom to aspiring pet business owner, like what would it be, and like what's the one thing you think that they should keep in mind before starting a pet business?
I mean, I think they should keep in mind that, that there's a lot of options out there for people. So,
Yeah.
really creating something that is special that you can put your own name on and stand you out from the rest of the crowd, find a niche,
Mm-hmm.
market that if that's what you want to start with, and then you can expand from there. And if that's just puppies or
Mm-hmm.
just dogs that are reactive and or find something that you truly can be passionate about
Mm-hmm.
within the industry instead of trying to solve everybody's problem.
Mm-hmm. So let's just say you are starting today from scratch.
Okay.
Okay, so which
Okay.
industry would you pick? Like, even in the daycare, like which specific
Hmm.
niche would you go for?
I mean, I love puppies.
Uh-huh.
And I love coaching new puppy owners.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that feels really good, right? I, I don't expect perfection. I like watching them grow up. I don't mind, the two steps forward, maybe two or three steps back with puppies.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching development. So they change as they
Yeah.
mature. And
Yeah.
it's fun to go, oh, I saw that one coming. And
Mm-hmm.
then to coach the new puppy owner who's obviously frustrated and a lot of times and needs help, I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy to do that. If I was a different person and
Mm-hmm.
that didn't really feed my soul, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe I would focus on nurturing older dogs
Uh,
and being a smaller but really supportive landing
mhm,
spot as dogs get older
mhm,
and want a little bit different care than they do as puppies, you
mhm,
know? Or if I was super passionate about dog sports,
mhm,
and I wanted to um, teach people about agility and teach people nose work, I would lean into that. So I think you have to really know yourself, really more than
mhm,
anything, of what
mhm,
where your interest lies and
mhm,
start there because
mhm.
that will always align better than something that you don't love. Can you imagine being a dog trainer if you don't like people?
Yeah, yeah,
You know, I think a lot of dog trainers don't like people and
yeah.
I'm serious. And I've met a few. I've taken some classes from some dog trainers I think maybe don't like people. So
Uh-huh.
I wanna say maybe don't become a dog trainer if you don't like people and stick with um sports and or stick with, you know, boarding or
Mhm,
something. But you've gotta really look at the different skill set you have and then play it up as big as you can.
mhm. Basic. What is your
Yes.
favorite part of the day at Canaan Activity Club? Is there any particular moment that always brings you joy?
So many things are fun
Uh,
here. What is my most fun part? I love watching dogs in the morning come into daycare. I love
mhm,
watching them pull their owners in. You know,
mhm,
that like that because it's self-serving. It tells me what we're doing here is working.
mhm,
And and that's the proof is in the dogs who want to come, right?
mhm,
So I love that. I really, really love talking to clients who are coming in for training assessments and
mhm,
helping with ideas versus even though the problems aren't solved yet, I love giving them hope that there is a solution to their problem.
mhm.
And there's always a solution. There's always a solution to the problem. You might not like it, you might not
Yeah.
like the solution, but
Uh-huh.
there's always some level of fix that we can help with and offer that can make their lives a little better and less frustrating. So I love that, always feels very rewarding too. But my favorite part of the day is dogs coming into daycare for sure.
Yep, yep. So, last question from my end, Alicia. What's the biggest lesson you have learned through entire journey and how it had shaped you as a business owner and a dog lover?
What is the biggest lesson? That no matter what business lesson is that
Hmm.
there's still business to be done. You
Yep.
can't ignore the business. The only
Mhm.
reason to be in business is to, by definition of the term business, is to have a profit. If there's no profit
Yeah.
happening,
Hmm.
I can't keep the place afloat, and then I can't keep employees. And
Hmm.
so profit is not a bad word.
Yeah,
In business, even
definitely. Uh-huh.
though, I think that's really, really important is to stay mindful of the profit
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
using the profit to grow the business is also really important. But um, I think the biggest lesson is to really be cognizant of and continue to learn about management and then hire
Hmm.
better than yourself
Hmm.
because it you can't be all the things as a founder.
Hmm.
I can't be amazing at being and about having a vision for the future and really
Hiring
be a
staff,
great manager.
handling all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't be a great manager and look forward at the same time. I can't look backwards and forward at the same time.
Hmm.
So I have an amazing team that is better than me. And
Hmm.
that's the, putting the ego aside and saying, I appreciate your opinions and I want to know what you think. And then I take everybody's thought process into account when I'm making
Hmm.
decisions,
Hmm.
you know.
How many employees do you have currently?
We have about 50 right now.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And like
it's
how many of
fairly.
them are like dog trainers and like
I
what's the
have
situation?
four. I have a training department manager, and then I have a director, and then I have three
Wow.
trainers under him, and he
Mm-hmm.
manages that department. I think we have the other 40 something employees are split between management, and
Mm-hmm.
then equally probably between daycare and lodging. And we run a specialist program here, which everybody does things a little differently in this industry. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. It's neat. It's really fun. I just got
Yeah.
back from an industry event. It
Mm-hmm.
is so fun to hear the other ways that people make this work
Mm-hmm.
successfully. But we decided to do a specialist type program. So if you are a bather, that's what you do. You get very, very good at it. You don't usually, not that there's not
Mm-hmm.
some cross training, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
also work in daycare. You're not also a receptionist.
Mm-hmm.
Our receptionists are wonderful at being detail oriented and great with the clients and alleviating fears. And
Mm-hmm.
our lodge team is on point when it comes to care and cleanliness and being very detail oriented also. So everybody here has a equally important
Attain role.
role,
Yeah.
but they're specialists in what they do. So that's worked
Amazing.
well for us. Yeah, we love it.
Amazing. Amazing. There was a amazing conversation and I learned a lot. Uh,
Oh, good.
yeah. So that's it for the podcast. And I will just stop the
Well, thanks
recording.
for having me.